Welcome to another episode of Fill in the Blank. I'm here with Mr. Holloway, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Robbie, for having me on.
Thank you for what? Thank you for what?
Well, thank you for
Thank
being
you for
man.
giving me some of your experience. I try and make you laugh with some of these articles.
No, you do.
This one is a little bit crazier than some of the other ones. Hofling Hospital Experiment. What comes to your mind when I say that?
Sounds like an experiment that went wrong in Hofling.
Ooh, Mr. Know-It-All over here. Well, in 1966, the psychiatrist Charles K. Hofling conducted a field experiment on obedience in the nurse-physician relationship. In the natural hospital setting, nurses were ordered by unknown doctors to administer what could have been a dangerous dose of a fictional drug to their patients. In spite of official guidelines forbidding administration in such circumstances, Hofling found that 21 out of 22 nurses would have given the patient an overdose of a medicine.
Well,
That makes you think about your next hospital trip, doesn't it?
yeah, definitely.
So what's the whole idea behind that? You think that's just because you're trying to listen to your superiors, or are people just on autopilot, they're not paying attention?
You know, I would think at some point they would notice it. I think the majority of them would notice it at some point. There's no denying.
Now imagine I'm your superior. You went through all these years of schooling. Your whole, half of your life so far, or your whole life so far has been put in towards getting this nursing job. You finally got it. Now you're new at this hospital, and I'm telling you, you're at one of our most prestigious hospitals. You just bought a new car with your first paycheck. You're living a good life. You got multiple side pieces, and you're just living the best that you can do. Now imagine I tell you you will be fired if you don't deliver this dose to this patient.
Well, you're going to ask yourself what's more important, my job or my morals, and to me it's my morals, but unfortunately for some people that believe that money is everything, they would think
This test
job.
proves that. 21 of the nurses out of 22 decided to give a person a lethal dose of a medicine. Who was that one nurse that decided
not to? Yeah,
she's like, I'm a human being and I care about other people. Those are real nurses in general. That's the best way I think you should choose your doctors. Who is the person that's willing? Because what's the most common thing that happens in surgery today that can be linked up with this?
I don't know what you
People
mean.
not taking a surgery because it's afraid it's going to affect their record. Basically, when you're a surgeon, you have a number of successful surgeries and a number of unsuccessful surgeries. A lot of surgeons, very good surgeons, are not going to tarnish their record by taking what could be known as basically a death case. One that's he's probably not going to survive the surgery. He's too old at this point. Just he doesn't have any time left. This is it. And someone that's willing to take that surgery sees that there is an outcome, or sees the optimism or the hope, the light in a way of looking forward to what can become something. Maybe that person could end up living and be able to see his family again. For people that are family members dealing with that trauma, or the person that wants to have that surgery so they can try and live. It all depends on your morals and justifications. How strongly do you feel about it? If I were to put you in a surgeon's case and you had to take a risky operation, what they would call it, and it would probably most likely 99% chance it's going to tarnish your record. Would you take that 1% chance of trying to save that person's life knowing that they could just die, but they're 100% willing to do it?
Me personally, I guess, yeah.
That's going to affect your record. People are going to see that. So that means when people are going to go pick you for a surgery, they might look at that and see that one loss. It's like when you look at Mike Tyson, you look at his wins, and you see his number of losses. You see more wins than losses. If you have a 0-0 or 0-1 record, you look at that football team too, you can chalk it up to that. If you look at someone's record, you're like, damn, he's got a lot of completed passes, but at the same time, a lot of them, he's got a lot of sacks. And it's hard to really, pay attention to those types of things. We're all kind of on the basis of statistics.
Right, and Barry Bonds, he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame for a home run, or longest home run or something, but he's got an asterisk next to his name.
Because he did roids.
Yeah.
You do enough roids, you can do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoot lasers out of your friggin' eyes. So let's talk about the procedure. So a person would telephone a nurse saying that he was a doctor and giving a fictitious name, asking the nurse to administer 20 milligrams of a fictitious drug named aspartame. to a patient, and he or she would provide the required signature for the medication later. A bottle labeled estrogen had been placed in the drug cabinet, but there was no drug of that name on the approved list. The label clearly stated that 10 milligrams was the maximum daily dose. The experimental protocol was explained to a group of 12 nurses and 21 nursing students who were asked to predict how many nurses would give the drug to the patient. 10 nurses and all the nursing students said they would not do it. Hofling then selected 22 nurses at a hospital in the United States for the actual experiment. They were each telephoned by an experimenter who identified himself as Dr. Smith. Why is every CIA agent or very high up doctor named Dr. Smith or something Smith?
Yeah, I know.
It's like Smith's the whitest name
it's
you
the most
can
common
have.
name.
Smith's the whitest name you could have.
John Smith.
So it was a group of 12 nurses and 21 nursing students, but 10 nurses and all the nursing students said they would not do it. So that means two of the nurses said, I would definitely just give that dose if I was told to. So that's a more enlightened, but they were just being explained the experiment, so they understood what it was. So then Hofling selected the 22 nurses at the United States, and he obviously identified himself as Dr. Smith, who asked them to administer the drug and said that he would write up the paperwork as soon as he got to the hospital. Nurses who followed the instructions were stopped at the door to the patient room before they could administer the drug. Imagine if they actually gave him they said this was a fake drug and he made a fake drug, but they put it on an actual really strong ass drug bottle, so that would actually kill somebody. They end up actually killing people. Well, the nurses should have refused Dr. Smith's instructions for any one of several reasons. These can kind of be chalked up to morals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, which reason would you choose out of all these the most?
Okay.
So we got number one. So I'm putting you in the nurse's position, and this is some of the things they would said that, what would be most likely for you not to do it would be one of these.
Yeah.
So the dosage they were instructed to administer was twice the recommended safe daily dosage. So you're giving a pill to a little girl, and it's way more powerful than the daily dose required. 2, hospital protocol stated that nurses should only take instructions from doctors known to them. They should not have followed instructions given by an unknown doctor over the phone. 3, the drug was not on their list of drugs to be administered that day, and the paperwork required before drug administration had not been done. Or, that's about it. Yeah.
I would say the second one about, you're not allowed to, what it's called?
You're not allowed to take orders from a doctor.
Yeah, an unknown doctor.
You wouldn't go with the first one?
No.
Why? I'd be like, I'm not going to kill this person.
Well,
even if the doctor says.
Well, I mean, I don't care,
You don't care about a little girl?
No.
You heartless son of a
That's not what I'm saying, Robbie.
I want you as my nurse. Maybe if you wore a nice gown, I might want you as my nurse or something.
You know what I mean.
You can give me a bubble bath or something.
All right.
Scrub my back.
No, let's not do that.
I got laryngitis. So, Hofling found that 21 out of 22 nurses would have given the patient an overdose of medicine. None of the investigators and only one experienced nurse who examined the protocol in advance correctly guessed the experimental results. He also found that 21 of 22 nurses to whom he had given the questionnaire had said they would not obey the orders of the doctor, and that 10 out of the 22 nurses had done this before with a different drug. So the idea that 10 of these nurses that were quizzed out of the 22 had already done something like this before. So they didn't see the reasoning wrong with it because maybe the person did not have died. Now this is very important to medical claims. You got to really think when you're dealing with somebody that, let's say you're a nurse and you're dealing with a patient. You bond with that patient from the time you're there. You do all these things. Now, how likely are you going to just give a dosage or follow the rules or go on autopilot in what people say or what's written down because that's basically what's law? Where we follow laws, they're just made up by someone more power than us. So you got to think.
Right.
Are they justifications on what you should do if a law told you that, one night a year you're able to purge people? It was a way of, everything's legal. Would you do it? Or is that against your moral rights? Where do you see with your moral compass? Especially when you're a doctor or a nurse. You got to look at a person as a person and stop looking at your job. I mean, yes, you need to function off your job. But if you don't take the serious time into it and learn to use your emotions as a human to relate to your patient or anything like that, you're abusing your job skill. Because the one thing you want when you're most vulnerable, usually when you're sick, is someone to help you and care for you. Like
exactly.
a motherly type thing, a nurturing type thing. So when your doctor is able to go the extra mile, you get diagnosed with cancer, your hair starts falling out, they shave their head for you. Or just knowing that the support is there. You need that 100%, especially when you're dealing with like depression and stuff of this sort.
Right.
Like the one thing you want is to feel like you have someone that's got your back 100%. And it's one thing I would do as a therapist, I know my buddy Matt, his mom is a very good therapist. Her name's Diane Brissy. She's literally like, I listen to the patient and I care and I bond with these people. That is a hard thing to do when you're becoming a psychiatrist, because you have so many people you have to, and it's really hard to get connected. You can't develop interpersonal relationships and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But she's like, after 2 sessions, if I can tell I can't help this person, I'm letting them know I can't help them.
Right.
Like I can.
If I truly can't, I'm not just gonna take your money. I'm gonna, it's gonna be on my mind every time you come in. I'm gonna be
I've went to one therapist in my life that has just been there for the money and literally brought me through all these sessions and all this stuff. And I was like, I have to stop coming here because I don't feel like you're helping me. You're just letting me bitch about my problems. It's not getting down to the root of anything. She goes, do you think you're ready to actually get to the base? I'm like, I've been telling you I've been ready. I've been sitting here 10 minutes in complete silence with you, and we're just been kind of like looking at the floor like as this hour goes up. Like the whole idea that she comes to that conclusion and she sees that in me when I'm going to be a psychiatrist, maybe like being able to talk to people and being able to come to a realization, like being able to help you along the way, like I have. And I don't chalk that up to my goodness or my idea of doing things. I chalk it up to you had that innovation in you all along. You had that innovation in you all the time. And I'm giving you I'm taking the sunglasses off your face, Brooks. I'm letting you see the light inside of you that I see, the fucking awesomeness.
I like that.
So it's like you got to think, man. Like you obviously, everyone's been through some stuff. We all have hard times. Hell, we have hard months sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
But it gets better. And I think having someone that realizes this, whatever medical field you're in, whether you're a surgeon who's very talented like Doctor Strange or, something of that sort, where you can just figure things out. You got to learn to apply your talents to the good and not so much worry about if your career's at stake. Sometimes you have to take that risk and that chance, and it might go in that way that they're saying it's going to go. If it says 90% it's going to go bad, it might go bad. But just that 1% or that 10% of hoping that it's going to go good, that has to give you at least the courage to step up to the plate and make that swing. Yeah. How many times you try and hit a home run, you're just like, I know I'm going to strike out on this one, I don't give a shit, I'm swinging as hard as I can.
Exactly.
So the conclusions with this experiment. Through the experiment, Hofling was able to demonstrate that people are very unwilling to question those who are considered authority figures. Even when they might have good reason to, this experiment helped illustrate how one could be willing to do something if they are ordered to do so, even if they are being ordered to do with such a wrong thing or giving a patient too much of a drug. The study was also very important in relation to the Milligram Experiment. The Milligram Experiment is another podcast down the road, but it was the idea that you sit in a courtroom, a bunch of people are lined up, and there's a dude sitting at like the seat of power, the judge. So that judge has all law. Like you're afraid to tell a lie in front of him, you swear on the Bible and all this stuff. That judge has all the power. So the idea of that, you basically feel like it's when your parents yell at you when you're a little kid. The Milligram Experiment's like that. Like, they have a sense of power over you. They're this towering figure, this justification, like, this superior being, and you have no power, so you feel like you can't do anything. Whatever they say is law. If they tell you you're going to bed,
you're going to bed.
You're going to fucking bed. Yeah. So like that whole idea, and
you don't have any sense of self.
You don't have any basically rights. You know what I mean? Like you can't. When you become an adult, that's the best feeling in the world, is feeling free. Like feeling free.
Yeah. So actually, my hair. I got my hair cut today, and my hairdresser said, "Hey, hold on. What were we just talking about again?"
Authority and rights, like the sense of freedom.
Dude, hold on. I had something. And
you're talking about your hair. Did your parents make you always have short hair or something?
No. We were talking about authority.
Yeah. There's an authority figure that basically controls all the power and you have no power. That's your parents when they take away the TV in your room and they ground you at such a young age. When you finally become an adult and you get to start making decisions for yourself.
She asked me like, do I miss being a kid and going back in high school? And I was like, fuck no, I don't miss that. Do you know how much freedom I have now? And like
being your own adult, having your own. There's no better feeling than when you finally got your driver's license and you were able to go out on your own, experience the world, literally be your own person and do shit your parents would never allow you to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole idea, like, that's something you definitely struggle with. You were telling me about before, about like feeling that your parents controlled you in a way and that you're never truly been free enough to open up yourself. Hopefully now you can see that you do have the control in your life.
No, I
Brooks.
do. Yeah.
You have the keys to your car, man. I can tell you how to drive, but to truly drive, you have to move those body parts yourself to get that function.
Dude, there's
going.
a song called Drive.
Don't let Jesus take the wheel. It's your damn turn, bro.
Incubus or something like that.
It's called Drive. My brother does a cover of it.
Really?
Yeah, in his band.
Dang, that's sick. I love that song. Surf's Up is a great movie, by the way.
It is a good movie with the penguins.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah. It's dope.
I like how we went from inner relevance about yourself and inner light about yourself to freaking penguins on the surfboard.
Uh-huh. Yeah, man.
Well, that's the best part about Fill in the Blank and Out of the Blank combination podcast we just did. It's a sense of realization in oneself. So what's your conclusion on the Hofling hospital experiment? You think it was a beneficial experiment since no one actually got hurt from it? It was just an idea to kind of tell that authority figures run our lives.
Yes, so, I completely agree with that, yeah.
And
I think it's very important that people know and that there is scientific proof behind it.
Because, it's something we all experience, If someone's got bigger than you and stronger than you and they tell you to do something, most of the time you're going to do it.
Yeah,
the whole idea of bullying and stuff. But yeah, I agree with you on going back into high school. Yes. No, thanks.
High school can suck it.
Yeah, high school can suck it. Okay. Well, thanks for being on this episode of Fill in the Blank, Brooks, and I appreciate you having you on.
I appreciate it, Robbie. Thank you.